missiles, and supposedly they exploded. The first headline has it, and I hope that this headline was not as bad as the one I got half an hour ago. But the first headline said that the airport, one of the nuclear facilities, was also noted behind some mountains there, and they're claiming that the mountains there have been destroyed. They actually pulverized some of the mountains, so that's why they let up this plume of dust cloud, and that's going to be extremely interesting based on how people respond to that.
Interesting. Another question I had to ask is, well, actually, this is probably my last question. In regards, since this pop off now, how big this war is going to be? Because I know history from World War I to II, but it looks like this one might be even more bigger since this is the third one. That's my question. Dr. Blair, you with us?
I'm still with you.
Okay, you gonna answer? You heard the question?
No.
All right, I'll repeat it. I said, how big this war is out of all the first two wars going to be? Like, this one is going to be the gigantic one. That's my question.
It's supposed to engage the entire area of Asia and the non-declared nations, again, because, like I say, the United States is really not the United States, but you could say it would include the United States, parts of Russia, Asia, Europe, and so it's supposed to be one that will go on for at least a year. But there will be great changes made in the midst of it as the persons in charge get holier than now, or I guess figured maybe they ought to stop it. So I guess that must be toward the last 6 years of it, per se, I guess.
All right, Dr. Blair. Thanks. And one thing this always comes to mind, and this might be a weird question. Don't mind me, twins, on this one, but because I always imagine, say, since we move into a higher dimension, I wonder if people are going to be experiencing some type of metaphysics, like more metaphysics, like special abilities now, besides the psychic, like, levitation and stuff. That was my question.
Well, whatever you use for money will always be used for money, whether it be paper, cloth, metals, whatever. And whatever you don't use for money will now always be fiat money or something. You could write on the back of a dollar IOU, which they used to do. That's where IOU came from. And it would be just as valid, especially in times of Great Depressions, times of great descent. These are the kind of things then you have to put up with.
Well, actually, I asked Dr. Blair about special abilities. Because he said people are moving to third to fifth dimension. So I was wondering if people are going to be having, like, those type of supernatural abilities, like, that's what my question was. Yeah, there, twins?
Yeah,
Did you hear
I didn't know how many questions you had, so I was trying to make it succinct, that's all.
Oh. All right, well, I'm not probably going to go and ask about those weirdo X-Men questions, but all right, thank you, twins, for answering.
No, you can ask. What were you going to ask?
Oh, no, I was just asking because it's talking about dimension shift. So I wonder if we are moving to a higher dimension, do certain beings will not only vibrate higher, but we're going to be doing, like, supernatural abilities? That was one of my questions. I know that's a general question.
Okay. Well, I guess the general question is these times that we're in are on the what we call the ascendancy. That simply means just like we had the big moon last week or so, again, supposedly it's a big harvest moon. And what do they call it? There was another name they gave for that daggone moon. I forget right now. But it's supposed to be the biggest moon we've had in a long time. The catch was, if that moon had really gotten out of orbit or had an eccentric orbit and got that close, you'd have had snowstorms, you'd have had dust storms, you'd have had volcanic eruptions, you'd have had Popocatépetl going off consistently. You'd have much more than what is allowed usually within the framework of just one of the National Registry, TVs again. But that is claimed, and it's claimed again by a person who has a very easy way to go, and a person who's always had it hard. And So that's one of the.
Okay. Thank you guys to answer my questions. Thank you. Appreciate this call.
All right. Thank you, caller. All right. Let's go to caller from the 215. Caller from the 215-609. Peace.
Peace. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Loud and clear. Greetings.
Oh, good evening. Good evening to you, sir. Good evening to you, Dr. Blair.
Good evening to you also.
This is Mr. Reed Manhattan from Philadelphia.
Dr.
Manhattan.
It's a pleasure to speak with both of you again. I actually had two questions for Dr. Blair. The first question is, what is your take on all of the pyramids, ancient pyramids being destroyed in different parts of the world?
Well, the fact that they're there is one thing. The fact that they've been there is another thing. And we get back into the history, as I've learned through metaphysics, which says that this planet is 4.9 billion years old. That's a lot of time for his story. And then supposedly it's going to 3.9 billion years old. And that the forces that were here now are not the ones that were here at another time, and that these forces are going to be sent out to outer space. And, of course, once that hits, there are going to be a lot of, got to turn off this phone here, I just got back in. And that some of the things that are being discovered in outer space are metals and things that can they're impervious to heat, that you can be used to make big rocket thrusts if that's what you're going to use. Of course, the advanced races supposedly that are around Earth do not use propulsion, they use electromagnetic drive. And, of course, we talked a long time again about some of the people that I met back in 1960. We also talked about many of the driving etiquettes, which is smart for you to say that because women are more defensive drivers, so it's been told, and women drive better than men. So I don't know how true that is. I don't know how true that isn't. But if the lawns are full of cowboys and things like that, then I'll have to know something.
Indeed. Thank you. And my second question is, what is your take on all of the worldwide protests that's going on that's not getting a lot of media coverage in this part of the world? Hello?
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I said my second question, thank you for answering the first question. My second question is, what is your take on all of the worldwide protests that are going on around the world that's not getting media coverage in this part of the world? Dr. Blair?
Dr. Blair?
Yes, I missed that. What did you say?
Oh, I said, what is your take on all of the protests that are going on around the world that's not getting coverage?
These times are for protesters. The people who have souls and who are incarnate for this particular purpose, meaning by that whether they're Asiatic, whether they're nomadic, whether they're American, whether they're European, whether they're African, wherever they now are usually here for a purpose. And that purpose, obviously, on this planet at this time, is to graduate with the planet. The scheme of things is supposed to be, as I best interpret it, that there will be people who will use their own engrafting or fax machines or whatever else to download and send information out to others. But the whole point is that there's this carry and non-carry where you've got some 3,000 people that can carry, so you only have a few that can carry, and should they be allowed to print that off again, especially if they have mothers who are, more or less having coffee trouble or something. They don't have a lot of mothers with them.
Okay, thank you, sir. Brother Red Pill.
Yes, sir.
Can I share something with the audience?
Oh, yes, sir. Floor is yours. Dr. Delbert Blair, this is one of our wordsmiths. So we always let him to share some poetic swords with the family.
And this is something that came to me before I knew that Dr. Blair was going to be on the show, so I just felt it right and appropriate to
used say this particular piece on this day. So here we go. This orbit that I'm in is light years beyond my shadow self, projecting light from beyond the photon and astral belt. Now ask yourself, on this third rock past the sun, are we here to learn something or are we just having fun? Huh? The me you see is just a memory, a reflective hologram of how I am. But on the other hand, exactly who and what I am is enough to make you snap like a rubber band. You feel me? The universal mysteries of Mr. E. Defy the laws of nature, suspension of disbelief. Survive the hardest labor, dispensing my energy. In the halls waiting to learn, only I limit me. But all they see is timid me. But you have no idea about my infantry, or the ship that I command. I've seen it vividly. Or the dragon that I ride on exquisitely. Prince of the cosmos, precise with my wizardry. My words split spirit, matter, and energy. And my thoughts take state, space, time, and density. Mix it with infinity. Rearrange the symmetry, intensity. It's the radiance that sun provides. Been through some dark skies, but somehow sun survived. This world's backwards like 4 coming after 5. What we rising like the batter from a box of Duncan Hines. And they shall be led by a child, divinely inspired, cosmically aligned. 44 gun salute.
Wow. Hey, I like that one. That was heavy. I like that. That gave some thought, and the rendition of it was, of course, great because you wrote it. So that's it. You did write that, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, well, that sounds
Hold on,
like...
little brother. We got to give you
Yeah,
Space bombs.
that was for sure. Yeah, and again, most of these movies that are coming out are pretty much heralding the path that's being going on. The Man of Steel, and then, of course, you have these things about the great jewel robbery, which means, again, if a jewel goes in, they'll really be trying to get things out of Las Vegas. You've got, what is that? I can't think of this other thing, which wasn't much of a hit when it was shown, but in the second time around, it's still garnering hits again. I forget the name of that thing now. But at any rate, I think that people are spending. They're not spending as much as they were used to spending, but they are spending simply when the family can come together, and that's a good sign. When the family comes together, then things usually get better, depending, of course, whose family you belong to. But this is the whole point. It means that they can begin to discuss things more openly. You have male and female opinions, and there are male and female opinions on a constantly basis. So I'm glad that you were able to hold off for me on that one. I guess really that's kind of getting near the time when we have our diamond shake-off, huh? Well, almost look like diamonds to me.
I'm just glad that I was able to let you hear that along with everyone else that's on the line and the people that will catch the downloads. But I want to make one quick announcement, and then I'll give up the floor to the other callers. I kind of feel selfish in just using this gift for just myself and to convey how I feel to people in general. So I am taking this time to put out a call to any of those homeschoolers or educators or people that are trying to create educational programs. As Brother Amir and the Pill stated earlier, these kids will remember this information if it was laid down to a beat. Now, there are thousands of words in the English language, and I feel like you can never run out of something to talk about as long as you have something worth talking about. So if anybody is interested in creating a curriculum based on music and rhyme and rhythm and memorization, I'm pretty sure if we put some of this information that the Moors and the metaphysicians, I should say, and everyone else has to offer, if we put this information to rhythmic patterns, it's amazing what will happen in less than a generation. So I'm offering my talents to anybody who is interested. If not, I'll just keep writing what I want to hear. If not, we can make monumental changes in the world. So you can email me at Mr. E Manhattan, MrEManhattan @gmail.com. That's my piece. So that's what I'm offering to the people. I mean, it's summertime. School season technically hasn't started yet, so we got 2 months to make something happen.
No doubt.
Well, I
no doubt.
think that you're